What's up, YouTube? We're on the air now. And as always, I got to find out where the chat is, if anybody's there or not. And nobody's here, except for Daryl. Daryl, what's happening? Friday night, October, in Massachusetts. And I'm live streaming with a planted tank and Daryl. Just in case anybody's interested, Daryl has arrived. Daryl, tell us a little bit about yourself, please. Come on, Daryl. Don't be shy. What's the word? Where you from? Come on. It's like one-on-one. Me and you get a chance to talk, Daryl. Give it up. What are you doing? Are you 16? Are you 56? Do you like to fish? Do you own fish? What part of the world are you residing in? Come on, Daryl. We've got 12, 13, 14 exciting minds want to know. What's up, Jason? From Central Illinois. Hello, Rich. I was just there, I think. Isn't and now I forget the name of the town. What's up, bub? I was just there for the aquatic experience last year. Jesus, I'm already forgetting. I'm getting old. I believe that's in Central Illinois. It's like right outside Chicago. 45 minutes maybe. What is the name of that? Schaumburg. Schaumburg, Illinois. Is that where you close to where you live? Bubba's making dinner because I know he's on the West Coast, Arizona, I believe. So it's 6:30 there, understandable. 9:30 on the East Coast. What's up, Tropical Fish Guy from Dallas? Daryl's trying to set up his 125. What do you need help with, Daryl? What's up? Redneck Aquatics is here. San Antonio. Bob Lawrence is in St. Louis. Thank you, Bob. Daryl was there. Canada in the house. I love Canada, FYI. Thank you, you too, Vince. Do love Canada. I love skiing in Canada. I love vacationing in Canada. Everywhere in Canada I've been has been nothing but pleasant and secluded for the most part, and that's the way I like it. Hey, Kay. Wicked Pissa, it's the freaking Mass Aquarium guy. Yep. Sounds about right. Although I am born and raised in Massachusetts, about 35 minutes south of Boston, and I rarely hear people ever say Pissa. Wicked, yes, it's in just about every sentence, but the Wicked Pissa, I think that's old school. Super, super old school. Hey, Warren from Memphis. I have tons of family in Tennessee. I absolutely love Tennessee as well. We have family on Center Hill Lake in Cookeville. I think it's about an hour away from Nashville. So what's up, Clint? What's up, Cohacos? How you doing, Brandon? Yeah, he's a Vermonter. Love Vermont as well. That's where I'm going to move. Vermont, Maine, northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, northern Maine, in the middle of nowhere. Worcester's in the house. Pretty sure my new electric blue rims are all my fire red shrimp. Yeah, that could be possible. Sometimes shrimp are tough. Angels, any type of like South American big cichlid, they will just chomp those shrimp like a all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Dilly dilly to everybody. Drinking one of my favorites, Massachusetts Shipyard Pumpkin. Rick from the Cape, dilly dilly. How's the weather down there? What's up, DJ M Landscaping LLC / something's fishy here? What are you guys up to this weekend? Anything fun? Anything fishy? You going fishing? You buying fish? Getting ready to set up tanks because winter's coming? The cold weather's coming. Everybody's stuck inside. They just want to build more tanks and more tanks and more tanks because they're bored. And then all of a sudden spring comes around. Then what do? You got to take care of all those tanks. Don't forget. Daryl says he'll see me at the Aquatic Experience this year. Daryl, come to the booth. You'll have to excuse me. If I do see your face, I will know who you are. But, you know, that's crazy. What's up, Gary? Brandon, water changes, trying to get my 30 going. As needed. When you start off, if you have a low fish load, you can get away with every couple weeks, every 3 weeks. Do like 5 gallons. Just fill up a 5-gallon bucket, take the water out, do a gravel vac, like in do sections, like do the back left section 1 water change. Then 3 weeks later, when you do a water change, do the back right section. And 3 weeks later, do the front left. You know, just do them in quarters. You don't have to get everything, and you'll be good to go. What's up down the wormhole? How you doing? Kahuka's painting his sump and cementing the aquascape. Yep. That sounds like a good Friday night. The cementing the aquascape sounds good. The painting of the sump, I mean, it's probably going to be a quick job, but I hate painting. I painted for so many years in high school summers, and it's just, as soon as I see a paintbrush or I need to paint something, I'm like already tuned out. Vince is working on a 75. He added CO2. He uses RO water with some equilibrium and acid alkaline buffer to get it all perfect. Have had real slow growth on the plants. Just started some Thrive. It's probably Thrive. It says Thrive, but it's probably Thrive. Nutrient dose. Why are you using RO? Are you on like some crazy hard well water, or tap is fine for a planted tank? You do not need to use RO. And then add everything else to make it the way it is. So I'm assuming you have some sort of crazy water where you need to do RO. What plants would I recommend for a high pH 10-gallon tropical fish guy? Like, what do you mean high pH? Like in the like 8s, where it's like borderline you shouldn't have plants, or are you just in the like 7 to like 7.6-ish? Let me know. Oh yeah, I talked to you commented the other day, didn't you, Bob? Rust-Oleum spray paint will make it a quick jog. Yeah, any type of painting I do not like. DJM, hey Mike, quick question. I have a 800-gallon, Jesus Christ, 800 gallons. It's a community tank, few different species, but my question is, I wanted to do a planted sump underneath. How many gallons do you recommend for 800-gallon freshwater? Like, I don't think you need a sump. That's borderline, like, that's crazy. Did you double tap the 0 by chance? Is there a better solution of getting rid of detritus permanently once in a tank and plants have them? Is it overprocessed or rid the plant? Yeah, you just increase flow. And are you talking about brown algae or just bits and pieces that end up on the bottom of your tank? If it's that, just gravel vac it up. If it's brown algae, you can increase flow. You can decrease your feeding in your photo period. You can rub it off with your fingers, or you get some autocats to munch on it. Just buy a new one, Taco. Buy a new one. It's such a pain to clean it, reseal it, and then every time you're away from the house, you're going to be wondering, did I seal the tank properly? Or is it going to spill all over my living room? 7.5, I think you're good. You can go with pretty much any South American or tropical plant, and you'll get away with it, no problem. What's up, Sergeant Tank? How you doing? Good to see you around. You're not doing a live stream tonight? You've been killing them with the live streams. Florist Excel instead of CO2, 20-gallon low tech with dirt substrate. I would add, if you want to start it, I've had good success and bad success, but the bad part was that was probably me. I probably messed that up, but just start off with like a quarter of the recommended dose, like drops, and then slowly increase over let's say a month until you get to half the recommended dose, and just watch your plants, because you know a big dose of that a couple days in a row and your plants will melt big time. But it's good for getting rid of algae. Like I said, I have more good experiences with it than the bad part, and that was all my fault anyway. Detritus worm. I cannot get rid of the detritus worms. What? What's up, Melvin? No, I'm serious. It's 800 gallons. I have 2 fluval never style. One friend had recommended putting implanted something just to clear up the water a little bit. 800 gallons. Just load your filters with filter floss. 800 gallons. Would love to see a picture of that. Tap water's pH 8, 200 gallons per hour. 1 water change, 3 picks. Should be good then. You can add a sump DJM if you want. It's just more water volume. I think 800 gallons is a big enough volume of water that if you're having that much of a problem clearing your water up, you just need to pack it with some filter floss and get out all those, like the really, really tiny, fine micron particles that are everywhere. And that should polish your water nice. Hopefully that answered your question. Kevin, what's up? Dilly. Kevin's always around on the live streams. Danny Saeed, what's up, Mike? Danny in the house. Dude, big question. I got a Bolivian ram and I put him with the German blue ram. German blue ram lost his mind and is stalking the Bolivian. Had to put the Bolivian in a separate tank. Help. Well, they should be fine. Put some pairs in there so that the Bolivian ram and the German blue ram leave each other alone. Make sure there's lots of plants, lots of driftwood, places where they feel like they own a territory, as opposed to if it's open and they see each other, they're just going to go at it. Plant. Heavy plant, I always say. Hey, Ian. Westboro in the house. I work right near Westboro. Right there next to Westboro. Aquarium Cop, peace and love. Who's if anybody has new tanks they're setting up that are tiny, I want to know what they're setting up as far as lights, like small tanks. Try it again, Danny. Any good recommendations for a fish to live with a crawdad? Big fish. You're like medium fish, depending on how big the crawdad is. Either the fish that you keep are going to eat it, or it's just going to pick off your fish until there's this probably like perfect medium size for only a tiny bit of months where they're both the same size and they can't eat each other. But excuse me, if you have crawfish, freshwater crawfish, and you're looking for freshwater fish to put in, anything tropical, it will eat unless it's big enough that the mouth, can't eat the crawfish. But if you're doing just like native fish, eventually that fish is going to get big enough. Pumpkin seeds, maybe bigger pumpkin seeds, or kivers. Their mouths won't get big enough to eat the crawfish, and they'll be too big for the crawfish to eat it. So you might get away with that. Maybe small perch for a little while, if your state allows it. Ian just set up a 60-gallon. Cool. From PetSmart and Natick. I work next to Natick too. Or Rhonda goldfish tank for my daughter using sand. Would like to Anubias Java fern. Would I have to supplement the sand, or should they be fine with water? I think Anubias and Java fern roots usually suck up a bunch from the water column that you'll be fine. Kind of shrimp in my Tetra tank with male and female golden. Yep, no problem. Go for you'll be fine with shrimp. Start off with hardy shrimp, a mono shrimp, cherry shrimp, and they should be fine. It's our tank with just standard bulbs. I would like to change it, but I like the lid. Well, leave it. Just leave the lid. If you like the way the lid and the light's used, I've had 10-gallon complete kits from the pet store, like a million of those. You set them up, plant them, put some fish and some driftwood. As long as they're like less demanding plants, you'll be good to go. For the grandkids, Tetra tank included tank, LED light, and filter for $50. Added a heater, beta fish, 6-pack rower, but now need some plants for my 75-gallon. Hit up H2O plants. I'll put it right here. H2O plants.com. Boom. Check those guys out. Check Justin out. He'll hook you up. You got Green Oasis too. You can check those guys out. Oh yeah. Eggs don't stand a chance. Aqua Fuzzy added a little tetralight stick. Sits into the back room. Yeah, that's cool. Fluval 3.0 and a 40 breeder with CO2. Do I need to elevate the light just setting it up? You need to start with the light. So for instance, this tank behind me right here, this 40 breeder, I had my LED sitting right on top of the tank, and it was just too much light. It was overpowering. I had a lot of algae. And of course, you need to dial in your CO2 and everything you need to do. As far as fertilizers and CO2 in your light, but I would start always with the light, the photo period, how much light you're giving the tank, and then slowly raise up the light until it gets balanced out, and then you can fiddle with your CO2. But make light your determining factor. What's up, Rico? How's it going, buddy? Rico's just setting up one of his brand new giant tanks. Go check out his channel, Rico's Aquariums. He is saltwater, but he knows all there is to know about fish, and fish in general usually get taken care of the same. If you want to talk about corals, go over to his channel. Hey, Mike, I always enjoy your videos. Maybe I'll run into you at the that'll be great. Come check out the booth. I'm sure Rico will be there. I follow Rico on all his Instagrams and everything, and he goes to every show. He takes his wife and his beautiful wife, Jamie, and all the kids, and they just go and have a blast. Glad to hear you're doing good, Rico. I'm doing good. Same old, same old. Going crazy. Yelling at Huckleberry, who I think has a toy. Huckleberry, come here. Huck, come on. Come. Or some paper. Sorry, excuse me. What's up, Ryan? How's it going, Ryan? Rico will be there. Yes, he will be. I'll get to say hi to him and his family. Yeah, same old, Rico. Kids are I got 4 soccer games this weekend. It's going to be crazy. My wife's working. My parents are helping out, which is nice. Huckleberry is being super annoying because, well, he's a puppy still. He's just over 1, super hyper all the time. And if he doesn't get walked or the ball thrown around with him for a long time, he is just like crazy all night. Super hyper labs until they're like 3 or 4, and then they just plop on the floor for the most part. And yeah, this dude's ready to go crazy. He's ready to go hog. It's been raining in Mass for a long time. Very few sunny days here or there. So he's been cooped up. Dank Tank, what's up? Mary Anderson. Hello, Lort311. What's my thoughts on sponge intake filters? Yeah, I like sponge filters. I don't like the way they look in the tank. If you're just doing like bare bottom or breeding tank, or the tank is there for a specific purpose besides like aesthetics, sponge filters are great. If you're looking to have like a tank that is like a show tank or something that you want to look at on a regular basis, if it's not big enough to hide those sponge filters in the back someplace, then no, I don't like them. Otherwise, I like them. Tropical Fish Guy, do not have a lot of experience with undergravel filters. It's been years, like maybe when I was like 8 or 9 years old when I had those. But I mean, they're still around for a reason, so you must be able to use them. Hey, Jamie. Hey, Lisa. How you doing, girl? Ryan, I saw Instagram from you watching the Bruins the other day, and I thought when you posted the Instagram, I thought they were in China or something. Was that Providence or what? Oh no, I just got on. Dude, little night owl edition. Well, I only went on like 18 minutes ago, so good. I have a 6.5. I'd like to completely cover the bottom with a nice carpeting plant. You can use Monte Carlo. You can use SP Rippins, baby tears, dwarf hairgrass. I haven't had a carpet on one of my tanks in a long time. Maybe it's about time I start up like a smaller tank. I've been really wanting to call up my contact at Fluval and get sort of like PecTech has, like just get one of those smaller, like 7.9 or just under 10 gallons, and just keep it simple and do a carpeting plant. I can splice my CO2 from this tank. It's a big 5-gallon tank, and I barely put bubbles in this tank, and then just tee it off, put it in another tank right here. That'd be really cool. Been dying to do it. I want to take down my saltwater tank, the 13.5 gallon as well, and just take care of the 140 breeder and then have my freshwater. Because in my opinion, and I know it's different for everybody, Rico would definitely beg to differ with me. I think freshwater tanks are way easier to care for than saltwater tanks. In my opinion. DIY CO2, I don't like it. It's too much room for error. It's too messy. It's too much of a pain in the butt. Yeah, Bray's going to kill him Sunday. Better. Patriots start off 1-3. I'm going to be one unhappy mofo. But yes, to expand on that, I think freshwater tanks are way easier to take care of than saltwater. The salties, the hardcore salties, will say that saltwater is way easier to take care of. In my opinion, you can absolutely do nothing on a saltwater tank, but you need to, it's got to be mature. You have to have everything dialed in, whether you're auto dosing or you have your skimmer dialed in and your auto top off and this and that, and so that you never even have to touch it. It just takes care of itself. That's the way I feel about planted tanks. Basically, they just take care of themselves. I do water changes like every 3 months on this tank, and it's always in good shape. Same once you get it dialed in, I just think it's easier to get it dialed in. And you can fill it from the tap. You don't have to make water. You don't have to heat water. You just mix the cool and the hot at the same time. It's too bad you couldn't get salt water out of the tap. That would be like on demand. That would be pretty sweet. And I know you have these fancy elaborate mixing stations, but it's just, I could go decide I want to do a water change on this tank and just take the gravel vac and siphon out 5 gallons in literally 2 minutes, dump it in the sink, fill that bucket back up, dump it back in the tank, fire the filter back up, 10 minutes, water change done. And you want to clean the glass and do all that other stuff, maybe 20 minutes. But it's very easy. Even with the big 135 downstairs, I just throw the maxi jet in there, run the hose to the sink, plug it in. It's draining water while I have a siphon that I'm vacuuming the bottom. 5 gallons of basically crap, all the detritus, while the pump pumps the rest out. And then I just hook the Python right up to the faucet, turn it back on, it fills up, shut it off, job done. Super easy. Hey, honey bee. Watched your recent video and went and grabbed some pothos. Yeah, I'm having fun with those pothos. You need to be a rocket scientist to go salt. No, you don't need to at all. It can be very low tech, and I know also salties don't like to hear easy corals because they all have demands, but you just don't have to go like super crazy with it. You can do it very easily, very low maintenance. I've done it. I've continued to do it for almost 4 years now. And you know, you can make it happen and not put in a lot of, listen, anything you're going to do, you're going to have to put in effort. But you can make saltwater tanks beautiful without doing as much. And you learn along the way, just like with everything. Make a few mistakes, you research, you watch YouTube, you look it up, you figure out why, and then you get better and you learn from your mistakes. Hey, Gary. Honeybee is here. I believe she's from the UK, so it's like friggin' 5 hours from now. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, almost 3 o'clock in the morning for a honeybee. Crazy Cajun 985. My 40 salt is doing awesome. Dilly Lisa. Boom. 40 salt's doing good. I just did a water change on it right before I did this live stream. Dilly, Ryan. Busy night. Wife left work at 6:30. Then my sister came over and hung out with the kids for a while. We chatted. Then she rolled out because she was tired. Went downstairs, did my 40 breeder water change, messed around, cleaned up a bit, patted Hucklebutts right here, and then said, let's do live. And it just so happens it was like right around 9:30, so it was perfect. Not like super night owl edition, but here. What's tonight's drink of choice? Choisy. Mike Taco likes good old cheap beer. This is my beer of choice. This, followed by this, followed by probably this again, and then maybe this to close off the night. I like good beer and I like Bud Light, and I mix them together. What's up, Greg? That's my boy, Mr. Gregory, my hero. Yes, I will be at all 3 days at the Aquatic Experience, thanks to Greg Jones. He is forcing me to go. If I had it my way, Greg would represent the entire My Aquarium Box brand at the Aquatic Experience, talking to everybody while I am in the comfort of my own house. But I will be there, and I can't wait to see everybody and talk to you. Oh, Jamie, you gonna send me some Treehouse? I can get that here. Treehouse is good. It's a mass beer. My Packy carries Treehouse. I love that. I don't like IPAs though, but there's a few Treehouse I like. Well, yes, DJ M. Saltwater is a lot more expensive, but with anything, you know, after a while, everything in your tank is worth a priceless amount to you, like emotionally, really. Huck, come on, stop. You lose a whole tank and it's going to be devastating, especially if it's, you know, it's expensive. But saltwater is it is expensive. I would be absolutely destroyed. I almost lost my saltwater tank last winter. I had to wrap it in blankets. But I would be extremely upset if everything died in that. The fish I've had forever. And I will say this with saltwater tanks, the fish are more personable. You can get a few freshwater big fish that are personable. Saltwater fish, you want to say hi, Huck? Saltwater fish are, oh, Hucky, bastard. Saltwater fish are more personable, in my opinion, than freshwater. Most freshwater small fish, but I don't even know. This dog's got me all messed up. But yes, saltwater is way more expensive than freshwater, especially if you get into the high-end corals and you have big mother colonies that you're fragging, and you're putting your frags in a frag tank to sell, and then the frag tank gets packed with all these beautiful corals, and it all goes to a mess. That's money. That's a living, you know, and that's awful. Oh, everybody loves Huck. You guys can come over and babysit this guy. Go take him for a walk in the dark for like 2 hours and get him all tired out so he passes out. Huh, Huckle bums. I know. Oh, we got had a great question that I'm unsure of. Go for it. If I missed it, I missed it. Yep. See, it happens, Ryan. It sucks. I had a tank crack when I was a kid, and nobody was home, and I just kept grabbing trash barrels, like those tall old school kitchen trash barrels, and just like bringing it over, and then I had like friggin' 40, 50 gallons worth of water in my room in trash barrels with the trash in the barrel, by the way. Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Hit the like button, hit the share if you like Hucklebums, Hucklebutskis. Lisa would walk Huck. He loves it. He loves the outdoors. That's why I love the woods. He loves being outside. Can you mix and match my aquarium box? Change the theme each month or every other month? There's not an option where you can switch from box to box while like retaining your subscription. So what happens is we send out a welcome box when you're a new subscriber. It's packed full of tons and tons of awesome sponsored products. So if you were to get the welcome box and then say you're on the planted subscription, and then you get your welcome box your first month, your second month is your planted, and then you cancel so that you can switch to a cichlid box while only having one box at a time, you would then again get the welcome box. Greg, is there a feature where you can swap from box to box without, I guess, getting your first subscriber? Keep in mind, folks, this is only me and my good friend Greg Jones this is only Greg Jones who's running the show here at my Aquarium Box. He is the CEO, CFO, janitor, marketing director, sales representative, banker. What else do you need in a company? He's human resources. He's pretty much everything in my Aquarium Box. So I'm sure Greg will. There you go. You won't get any repeats. Honeybee, we were delivering to the UK via Michael Aarons, one of our co-owners, but the demand just wasn't there. When you can only do 25 to 35 boxes a month, the cost of the goods and time, it doesn't make any sense. And he ran it for over a year, and he just couldn't get above even a small amount of subscribers to make it work. But you never know. Maybe soon in the future, we'll get back out there. We're trying to get into Canada. We've got a few spots, but the market has to be there. It costs a lot of money to buy a lot of products. So the more members you have, the cheaper the products get, which means you guys get better products and more products. The fewer members you have, the fewer products you're buying, the more expensive they are. This isn't a secret. This is just basic business and how it is. I already have a blood parrot and a OB peacock. How many Mbuna should I add? Oh, I don't know. I've only ever kept Mbuna, so I never mix between the 3 cichlids, African cichlids in my tank. Haps and peacocks, I think you can keep together. I've seen DWS Darius keep all of them together in a big tank. Huckleberry, come on, dude. Right, honeybee. You know, he tried his best, and there's nothing. Imagine if you had to work like your regular job and then work another, 10 to 20 hours a week for like $1 or a pound. It just, when you have a family, it just doesn't make sense. But dilly to Michael. He gave it his best, and just didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that it will never be back someplace. Hopefully one day my Aquarium Box is such a giant brand name that we can afford to be in every country. I know there's a big demand in Australia and Canada right now. I get a ton of emails and questions, and it's just a matter of getting the right people set up in those countries and having it be worthwhile. What's the largest tank you've ever owned? My dad, it wasn't necessarily my tank, but my dad, I believe he did have a huge tank when I was little. The biggest tank I've ever owned is downstairs in my basement right now. It's 135 gallons with, the originally was supposed to be a 55-gallon sump. I think it's right around 40, I would say like 40 gallons. So 135 cube, it's beautiful. It's custom made by SC Aquariums. The link is in my description, right up there on the top. Beautiful aquariums. They make great aquariums. The glass is like friggin' this thick. It's awesome. I love it. That's the biggest tank. Hey Jeff, first time here. Glad to have you. What did Greg say? You going to trim that forest growing behind you? No, I just did a trim on it. I did my water change last week when I put up an awful video on how much and how often to do water changes, which was supposed to be really good because I did get a lot of good footage. But then I tried my first time editing a video using iMovie, and I completely, royally fucked it up. This past video I put up on the Pothos, I got like 140 something likes and no dislikes. The water change video I put up, I think I got like 7,000 dislikes and I only got like 1,000 views. So I don't even know how that's possible, but it happened. It was bad. I won't be editing like that. I don't have it in me. But yeah, I just did a water change on this for the first time in about 3 months. And I pulled a bunch of Blixa and I pulled a bunch of Dwarf Sage. And I trimmed back the Tiger Lotus and did a quick spritz of hydrogen peroxide and Excel on like the 1 or 2 tiny little tufts of blackbeard algae I have left. I've literally battled this for over a year and I've got it down to basically nothing. So persistence is key, folks. Don't give up. You can do it. Matthew just stripped down a tank because it was full of BBA. I want to reuse the healthiest of the plants when I set it back up, though. So what would your recommendation be on sterilizing the plants? I would get rid of everything. Absolutely everything. Don't sterilize anything. Like, I guess hydrogen peroxide, but I would just start from scratch. If I was ready to dump this whole tank, and by dump the whole tank, I mean not just dump it out and like clean it, just take everything, the tank, and trash it and start over with a brand new tank, brand new substrate, brand new filter, everything. Because blackbeard algae is that. All right, that's enough. Sit. Here's your bone. Here's your bone. Get your bone. This guy is hyper. Everything, because once you have blackbeard algae, it never goes away, ever. Yes, Greg, I'm hoping to put some more plants from Green Oasis Farms in my big tank. I think they're mailing you some. I hope you can keep them alive. And I hope to put some lace bulbs, Madagascar lace. I've had that before in my 75. It's an absolutely gorgeous plant. Super gorgeous plant. And so if I can get some of those bulbs for the 135, I'll be doing that. Do I think lighting from Fluval claims to support coral would support low-tech plants? Yeah, I think all those LED lights can. Thank you, Honeybee. Can I freak her and say, hey, Ian, how is Big Mo doing? She doesn't believe this is real. Yes, Mrs. Broomy. Hey, Ian, how's Big Mo doing? Where do I buy the aquarium box you are talking about? Donut Tech at myaquariumbox.com. Hey, Blue Carbon. Ryan says, have you thought about doing mangroves in one of your... Yeah, Greg gave me a few mangroves that I tried to put in my tank, and they never rooted, but I really wasn't patient with them. I sort of had them zip tied to the back of the tank, and I just wasn't patient. I didn't wait like a month plus to see what happened. I kind of just was like, all right, these are annoying. Huck, go. These are annoying. Get out of here. I'm done with them. So yes. Honeybee says, Huck wants a drink. That's a, yeah, no. He just wants to be pet, and he wants me to give him a belly scratch because I've been at work all day and he's been home. Probably didn't get a walk because it was pouring today. And then when it did get nice, it was just probably too late. And if he gets too annoying, I'm just going to go get his leash. And the second I put his leash on, that's it. He doesn't do anything. He just lays there. He is a good boy. That's a great question, Jesse. Or Jess. Yeah, you would need to bump up the pressure, I would think, back plus 35. So if it's 35 PSI, maybe you can get away with 40. And if you're splitting it off to tanks. I know Justin runs multiple tanks on multiple aquariums on singular CO2 tanks. So, and I know he has huge tee-off systems and whatnot. I don't know his secret, but he may have some videos on increasing pressure. That's actually a like really good question. I'm sure there's videos on increasing pressure when you're splitting them off. Do I have any weekend plans that don't involve balls? Oh, no, I don't. I have soccer all day, Saturday, all day Sunday, and then football after soccer on Sunday that I will be watching, and as well as the Ryder Cup. My wife's working and sleeping, so yeah, every single aspect of my weekend life is revolved around balls. I hate to say it, folks. Sorry. Can you avoid vacuuming with a planted tank? Yeah. I get that question a lot, actually. Maybe that's a video I should do. I get that question so much on my older tanks. How do you gravel vac with all those plants? My plants always get uprooted. What do I do? So really the key is just to hover like as close as you can get to the substrate, especially if it's dirt, where like you're maybe just disturbing a little bit so you kind of see it's like dusty, but you can get right over the substrate and suck up any poop or detritus or bits of plants and driftwood and all that stuff that gets everywhere. You should be able to get that no problem without really like digging inside the substrate or the sand bed. If you have gravel, it's super easy. The plants will root in a few months, and then you can gravel vac everywhere, and the plants won't get uprooted because their root system is so big, they're locked in there. Great. I think I'll do that video. I've been needing some video ideas, so that's a great video to do. Thank you for that question. My birthday is on Sunday. Going to ask for the cichlid aquarium box. All right, Donut Tech. I think that's a great gift. Honeybee likes the sleeping bit. Happy birthday, yes, happy birthday, Donut. Get that aquarium box. Cichlid's a great box. What do we got here? Oh, all right, 4 more minutes probably, right up. I'm gonna do 40-minute live stream, Night Owl edition. I know it's very late. I still can't believe Honeybee is up at 3:11 in the morning. Justin owns H2Oplants.com. Met him at the Aquatic Experience. He works closely with Greg and I with my aquarium box. If you get my aquarium box, you will get a coupon in every planted my aquarium box for a free plant from Justin, ordering through him. Justin's an affiliate with my aquarium box. We work really closely, and he's a great kid. Just had a baby. Good guy overall. And I hope to see him. I hope to see him this year and have some dinner with him this year at the Aquatic Experience, if he's got time, because he's got a baby now. Well, she's probably almost 1 at least by now. Thank you, Honeybee. Lisa, the wrench, not wench, the wrench of the century right here. You cannot mess with Lisa. She will boot you, and she has full permission to boot anybody who's not being polite. Well, you don't have to be polite, really. Just don't do something stupid. But she also does a great job moderating the channel with links and everything you need. When I talk about it, she just puts it right up there, so you can go check it out. She's great. I love having her on. Anytime I see Lisa's name come up with the blue wrench, I'm like, I immediately relax, because for usually the majority of my live streams, like the first half of them, like nobody's there. And when she shows up, I'm like, okay, I can do whatever now. And she's got it under control. She does a great job. I have a few wrenches that come in. Rico's a wrench. He does a great job sharing and liking, and he can talk up anybody's channel and give everybody all their strengths and what's great about the channel. I hope this is a bone you're chewing on there, Hucky, and not the chair. Oh yeah, Huck's got me pinned up against this desk with his big Nylabone, but at least he's not up in my grill. K-Town, send Tom Brady a lifetime subscription. Yeah, I'd love to. If I had his address, I probably would, and then I might be arrested for stalking TB12. But they're gonna win this Sunday, or I'm gonna be crazy pissed off. It's weird how football makes me so angry. And then I don't know anybody out there play fantasy football, but when your home team loses and then you lose in all your fantasy leagues, like, it's super depressing at the end of a Sunday night. You're like, wow, this fucking day blew as far as fantasy and regular football. There's got to be some hope. And then Tom gets his ass kicked. I get my ass kicked in all my fantasy leagues, and then I'm like, well, at least I have a gorgeous wife that I can watch TV with and hang out with at the end of the night. And then it all kind of just like mellows out. And the kids are there and they're healthy and everything's good. So there is two solutions to that sports fantasy complete destruction of a day. Oh my God. Hey, Blue, you just killed Brady. Well, and you have Barry Sanders one time. So, I mean, that's cool. Oh, is that what happens? As soon as I, getting ready to shut it down, we got more people watching. What do you guys want to talk about? Huh? We got to talk about something. Just talked about fantasy football. I'm sure somebody has fantasy football out there. If the Lions go 1-15 and they only win was against the Pats, I'll feel bad. They're not going to go 1-15. They got some talent. They got some running backs. I love LeGarrette Blount. That dude's a beast. He's like the ghetto version of Marshawn Lynch. If you can get even more ghetto than that, I like him. I wish we still had him. My least favorite type of fish and why? What is my least favorite type of fish? I think the fish that I've had, there's probably two of my least. One is I love that fish, but I cannot keep German blue rams. I've tried a million times and it always turns out bad, but they are so gorgeous. But my least favorite fish that I've had an experience with might be the Chinese algae eater. They go to town on some algae at first, and then they start attaching themselves to like big fish, like discus, angelfish, fish with like a wide side, and they start sucking the slime coat off them to the point where they have open sores. So the Chinese algae eater is by far the fish that I have been struggled with at one point, even getting them out of the tank. It's almost impossible. But I do not like that fish. I recommend not getting Chinese algae eaters. Thank you for the question, Greg. Silly, Tampa. Tina strongly dislikes football. That's okay. This is a free country. You can strongly dislike anything you want. Ryan says, how's Mr. T? He's alive and well, and that's literally one of my favorite fishes. It's like a little dog. Can Emperor Tetra Corn live for 10 days with no food? That's pushing it. I would definitely recommend having somebody feed them like one time, maybe after day 5. I'm sure they'll be okay. I can't guarantee it, but 10 days is a little, 10 days is a lot. Fish are very resilient and they're opportunistic creatures, but if they're tiny fish, there's not a lot there on the body for sustenance for them to survive for that long. I'm sure they'll make it happen. They might even eat some algae, but your tank might be looking kind of crazy when you get back. Yes, Tina, football doesn't turn me into a lunatic most times. It does make me more angry than I normally like to be, but not a lunatic. Somewhat of a lunatic, maybe. Yes, maybe I'm a lunatic when it comes to that. Oh yeah, Nick's got too much invested in the Chargers. I hear you. That sucks. If they moved my team, I'd be bullshit because I'm only like 25 minutes from the stadium. Been a season ticket holder for 17 years now. My father has been a season ticket holder to the Patriots since 1979. So, yes, I'm a diehard Pats fan. If they moved, I would be so friggin' pissed off. But I'd still be a Pats fan. I'd just be an angrier Pats fan than I already am. And we're spoiled and I'm still angry. So, I don't know. Go figure that out. No, I don't think the Lions will win a Super Bowl anytime soon, but the tides always turn. So, there's Pittsburgh and Green Bay and Kansas City of the old times and Dallas and the 49ers and the Patriots. Like, there's always dynasties that build, and sooner or later there'll be another team that will be a dynasty, and who knows? Yes, they do have a better chance. Any type in a 20-gallon hex, just not a lot. Like, what are you playing on? Are you talking saltwater, freshwater, community fish? What kind? What kind of fish do you like? Good job, Carol. Hey, Carol. She's been messaging me on Facebook. Sorry, Carol, if I don't get back to you as quick as you would like, because I have a million people that try to contact me to ask me very simple questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them. I just cannot, there's not enough time in the day for me to have conversations with over 100 people. I'm very sorry. Imagine like people like Joey and Dustin and all these, Rachel and all these big time channels that have like trillions of people contacting them at all times. There's just not enough time in the day. I hope I've done my due diligence responding to as many people as I can. It's just, don't take offense. If anybody tries to find me to ask me a personal question, don't be surprised if I don't answer you. Very sorry. Mike is busy. Mike is busy with his kids and Huck, etc. Yes, exactly, honeybee. Dilly dilly. Oh, so busy. That's why I like these live streams, because I get to answer questions like in real time. And there's no stupid question. I'll answer whatever you want. Whatever you want to ask me, I'll answer it. Maybe angels. Lord says, any of your own kids have their own tanks yet? My son's, I put a 10-gallon tank. Sorry about the volume. I've got some videos up. I don't know if I deleted them. They're older, but we had a 10-gallon tank in my son's room in my other house before we moved to this house. It was a beautiful tank. It had some nice driftwood in it. It had live plants, very low-tech 10-gallon kit that I bought from PetSmart. And they went through like some of those Mexican lobster fish and Mexican crayfish, whatever they call them, and shrimp. And then they had some platies. Sometimes I'd even use it like as a QT tank. Don't tell them. They don't know what that is anyway. And the tank's long gone. But now my good friend Brian has that tank. When we moved, he took it. Can you kill cherry shrimp using too much CO2? Yes, you can kill anything using too much CO2. I also have a video on that. My daughter, when she was very small, turned up the gas on my 75 and killed about almost 90% of my fish. She gassed out. You can kill anything when you put too much CO2 in the tank. Yes, be very careful. Ryan says, what was the last LFS you been to? Maybe Oceans of Pets in Woonsocket right before they closed. I haven't been to Ned's in a while, long time. And I did just pass Pets in Smithfield or North Smithfield on my way to a soccer game a few weekends ago. And I almost went in there, but I didn't. I was with everybody. I wasn't going to drag everybody in or make them wait. Did I get my season tickets from the Patriots? Yes, I did. Of course, I paid for them. Amazon swords are good. Do Malaysian trumpet snails have gender, or I have no clue. I think most snails can just breed, like, I think they're asexual. If there's no male, I think they can just do it all. I don't know, though. Do not quote me on that. I'm not an expert. But I believe that can happen. That'd be cool. I'm pretty sure it can. Maybe someday I'd just use dirt. Right now, no frets. Yeah. CO2 it's not as difficult as everybody or people portray. Just like people say, oh, don't do salt water. It's so hard. You have to do this and you have to know that, like, it's the same. You just need to be willing to take care of something, basically. If you just want to like put water in a tank and forget about it, well, your tank is probably going to suck. If you aren't at least semi-passionate about anything about the tank. Like, don't just buy a tank and put water in it and then add a million fish to it and then just think it's going to be miraculous. Like, you always have to care for anything, especially in the pet world. Like, I know people don't think fish are pets, but like the tank in itself and everything encompassing that tank is kind of like one pet. They may not be like a dog or a cat or a bird or whatever you have, but if you, are keeping the tank and taking care of what's inside of it, then consider the whole tank one pet, and you're responsible for everything in it. But you do what you want. Just know that you can have beautiful tanks with little maintenance, and that's what I try to do in all my videos, or used to try to portray in all my videos and educate. Now YouTube's just weird. I struggle to even like want to put out a video because it's just saturated with dog shit, and I'm a part of that, but not as much as other people. Everybody's trying, but you gotta, as in the end, it's probably about the fish. It is about the fish, and you just gotta take care of your fish, folks. That's all I gotta say about that. Moving on. 3 minutes. Let's do 3 minutes. 10:30. We'll call it 1 hour. I wanted to do 45. We're on to another 15. I appreciate everybody watching. It's awesome. I love when you guys come in and watch. Super cool. Do you need to redirt a tank? So with any, so think of a dirt substrate as a nutrient-rich substrate that will feed all the plants that you plant for a certain amount of time before the nutrients are exhausted. Then you will need to supplement with fertilizers, dry or wet, or a sort of a root tab to put nutrients back into the substrate, which your plant's roots will feed on. Your fish waste does contribute a minor portion of that, but like anything, you need to feed it. It's the same goes for regular plants, like house plants, outdoor plants, vegetables, flowers. They need a replenishing amount of nutrients to grow. And if you stick them in a tiny pot with, let's say, sand that is it's inert, it has nothing, they're not going to grow. They're going to die. They cannot live off just water and sunlight. They need nutrients as well. Now, they're more hardy plants that might look like they're surviving, but they're not thriving. They're just surviving. And that might last longer, but eventually they're going to die. So yes, you either need to redirt your substrate with brand new nutrient-rich dirt, which is a complete pain in the ass, or you just put nutrients into the tank after they're exhausted. That's why it's so difficult for people to start up a planted tank with dirt right away, because you're introducing so many nutrients into the tank. And if you don't heavily plant that right away, you get huge algae blooms, plus the CO2, plus the light. And then I'm not going to say it's a nightmare. I mean, that's usually what happens, especially with a nutrient-rich substrate, is it becomes a sort of balancing act between your light, your CO2, and how much can your plants take up the nutrients from the soil. So it's not a bad idea to not buy a nutrient-rich soil to start, and you can add root tabs or fertilizers on a slow basis depending on your plant load. Also a great question. I hope I explained that to you properly. Oh, we got buckets for water changes. I still carry buckets sometimes. Sometimes I don't need to. Sometimes I do. I don't care. I just don't. While I do have ideas, I just haven't figured out a good time, maybe this winter, to really automate everything where it's just like so easy. Turn something, done. Turn it off, done. Rinse something, job done. Yeah, a lot of people bucket brigade. I used to watch this channel, Cloud9 Aquariums, years ago when he was, I was consider him one of the first YouTube channels I used to watch. I was just very entertained by his videos, and I always liked looking at his aquariums and the fish he kept and the passion he had behind it. It wasn't just like a all fired up like boop 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 boop. Like you have to get videos out, and there's just really no point besides your enthusiasm. He was one of the for him and Dustin in the old days were like some two channels that I really got into. Like I was excited to see their next video. I didn't have to see what the thumbnail was or what the title was. Like if the new video was up, I couldn't wait to watch it. That's very rare nowadays to be subscribed to channels. I have it a lot with other genres of YouTube. I'm subscribed to a lot of channels that are not aquarium related, and I can't wait for the next video to come out because I just think what they're doing is interesting. But I think the aquarium YouTube is so saturated right now. It's just you don't even know what to watch anymore. It's just very difficult to put out multiple weekly content that is something that's entertaining and interesting, educational. There's just, you run out of things to do. You can only educate so much before there's nothing more for you to do besides, I got this fish, I got that fish. Let's show my tanks. Like everybody, me included. It's just very, very exhausting trying to figure out new and exciting things to put on camera that people enjoy watching. That's why I'm kind of just like willy-nilly and kind of trying to incorporate some of my life with what I do on a daily basis. And if people find it interesting, then they watch. And if they don't, you know, I get tons of shitty comments all the time, but it is what it is. It's not for everybody. That's why it's a free country. You watch what you want to watch. My fish dig up my root tabs and eat them. Can I put them in the filter? No, you need to put them directly in the substrate, preferably next to plants. You do it on the tap. So you have your hot honeybee, your cold, and then I have a electronic, a meat thermometer that I just hold underneath the tap as it's running, and when it gets to a certain temp, or I can feel it with my finger now. It's got to be in a certain degree, and then you just switch it over, fills up the tank, job done. You can even do it with cold water. I fill up my big 135 with cold water. I don't bother to temp it out. The water volume is so big that the little amount of cold water that's refilling it, it does not take long. It doesn't change the temp drastically, and it doesn't take super long to get it back to like where you have your heater set. So smaller tanks, if you take out a large volume of water and you try to fill it up with cold water, it might shock the fish too much. But bigger tanks, dropping that little cold water into water that's already at a certain temp, it doesn't fluctuate like crazy. With glue is how you stick it, or jam it into the certain crevices. That's what she said. Thank you, JG Productions. I like the glass hoods. You can DIY it. Go to Home Depot, grab some stuff, super cheap, and grab a cutter, slicer, glass slicer, whatever you need to do, and you can do it with like plastic very easily. Make hoods. All right. Does anybody have any other questions to ask? If not, I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate everybody coming by and watching on this Friday night instead of out living it up, lighting up the town. Yes, there you go. Well, I do know a lot of people that have some anxiety, and fish tanks can be very, very soothing. Yes, 40 breed of salt are good. Yes, go to bed now, honey. Honeybee. I'm gonna shut it down. Get some sleep. You gotta wake up. Well, it's Saturday. I don't know if you have to wake up. I gotta wake up eventually. Thank you. Thank you, 1986. Appreciate that. Billy. Thanks, Tampa. Dilly. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. I hope everybody has a good night. Enjoy your weekend with your family or whatever you're doing. If you're working, try to enjoy that. Keep it cool. I'm out.